Audio check. Audio check. Audio check. Is this thing on? I believe it is on. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is JH. How y'all doing, Postal family? Is everybody good? Is everybody cool? Everybody clean? Are you crisp? Are you feeling irie today? Let's talk. But first, I gotta say hello to my Postal family. Larry Dunn, how you doing? Nothing gonna change when the MVS is gonna take our new contract run. Yeah, I'm impressed, Mr. Smith, about that. That MVS department's personal. Elijah, what's going on? Miami-Dade. I don't know if you paid attention, sir, uh, Lino, but Jonathan Smith said the same thing that you mentioned, that conversation we had about all up underneath one union. Interesting, interesting. We're gonna chop it up. Again, Country Kane, how you doing? Johnny, that's my dogs in them. Aaron. Aaron eats pineapples whole, like the whole pineapple. Yeah. Yeah. Island, how are you? Young lady from the island, the big island, or one of those islands. Luther from Charlotte. Charlotte. All right. Luther. That's a powerful name. Powerful name. Today I have an individual that is running for vice president. Vice president. Rome, how you doing? Taj, how you doing? Lulu. LaRue. That's a unique name. Lulu. Um, I have an individual that's running for vice president. Let me get my little notepad out. See, when I say little notepad, it's really a little notepad. It's not Chat GPT. It's little. It's little. All right. Sorry. I have Josh on today. Josh is running for vice president of branch 4374 out of Michigan. Michigan. I recall when I first went to Michigan and as a truck driver, and I parked at a truck stop and they broke into my truck and I almost got robbed. I'm from New York, so I was a little perturbed that I was gonna get robbed in Michigan. So yeah, I'm not too much of a fan of Michigan. You see me? Anyway, that has nothing to do with the price of tea in China. Um, I like to have people on that are gonna tell me some good things, some bad things, and I'm a drill Josh. I'm gonna give him the pressure. He wanted to come on. He is running for vice president. Hell, I don't really know what the vice president does for the union because clearly James Henry doesn't really have much power as the vice president of the NALC. So I'm just trying to get educated. I'm trying to get educated like other individuals are trying to get educated. So, um, from what I understand, Mr. Josh is a little bit under the weather. He has some young kids, so he has his mask on. And he is going to be Mr. Josh. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am.
All
Good
right,
to be
all
on.
right. I hope you're not a shy individual because I'm gonna make you blush, sir. I'm gonna make you blush. um, all right. So you want to tell me a little bit about yourself, sir?
Yeah, as you've spoken before, my name is Joshua Shrum. I'm what they call the Roseville Wrecking Ball over here at Branch 4374. Like you said, I'm running for vice president, and you know, I've been a steward for a very long time, but I've only been with the NALC maybe 4 years, but I've been a steward for 10 years beyond that. So, uh, you know, that's who I am.
Nice. Okay. Okay. I respect that. I respect that you were a steward for some time, so you have a little bit of knowledge about uh being in a union and how these contracts work. And I'm assuming that you are educated when it comes down to the contract. Yes?
Yep, absolutely.
All right. So Let me say hello to a couple more people. James B, how you doing? Maurice, what happened to your other channel? I was a paid subscriber. So Maurice, just so everybody knows, yeah, some lady filed a copyright strike against me, so I had to get demonetized because of some lady that liked to show her six pack of abs off when she was changing in the back of the truck. So yeah, I got demonetized because of that lady. And y'all know who I'm talking about, from New York. And I call her a lady because that was a bitch move. Anyway, so that's why you're no longer a paid subscriber. Um, yeah. What was I lying about? So he's running for vice president of his branch. He does have a podcast himself. What is the podcast that you have, sir?
So I run a podcast. I did start it in May. So far, we've got about 20,000 listens. It's called Parcels of Knowledge, and it's essentially short, uh, 20-minute episodes on particular contract language and how to file grievances around those circumstances, or if you're a regular carrier, some advice on how to navigate certain issues.
Okay. So you speak about contract enforcement, grievances, etc.
Yeah, like today I talked about some of the tricks managements are using to deny 271Gs, which are special route count and inspections. They're trying to have some workarounds. So I tell carriers about these circumstances and I tell stewards about how to navigate them circumstances. So, it's just every episode is just based on what my experiences as a steward and how I can share that information with others.
I love it. I love it. You know why? Because knowledge is power. And when I get information, I try to share it. Sometimes I'm wrong. I admit when I am wrong. But when you have people that are out here, which we never had 20 years ago, this was not accessible to everybody. Now you have people around the country that are they're putting in information out there. They're putting information out there, and um, there's no excuse for people that say, "Oh, I didn't know." Because whether it be a podcast from the CLC or fighting for a better something or another, or people down in Florida, they got theirs. There's so many people putting out information. You can collect information from different places and fill yourself with knowledge. I love it. So the name of your podcast is what? How do they find you?
It's called Parcels of Knowledge, and you can search it up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and any other major podcast station. We're on pretty much all of them.
Okay. So you like to educate others, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
Okay. So honestly, I don't know what a vice president does, but what you just did say was education. And obviously, that should be priority and is number one for everybody. Um, I have my thing here where I share information with people. Um, if you were to be elected in, what would be your first, specific new training or resource that you would implement? And how fast do you think you could roll it out? And let me follow up with that because
Okay.
yesterday I was talking with another, the one that won the national, and he was saying that a lot of people, they don't get involved. And, I was pushing back. I said, well, a lot of people feel left out. Um, and then he went back and said that's because they weren't armed with knowledge. So my question to you is, if you have knowledge, which you clearly do, how do you plan to get that knowledge out to the members?
So I'll start this with the fact that each branch has a different set of bylaws that describe the positions and what their duties are. And in my branch, the vice president is the director of education for stewards. So that's why I'm particularly seeking to have this position because I think it's most suited for my abilities. Now, my plan is kind of twofold. I don't want us focus on education for stewards. I want education for carriers as well. I think we don't have that right now. And we do have education for stewards, but I'd like to manipulate the way it currently exists because right now, as it stands, we have a monthly training. And in this monthly training, a lot of people can't make it. Like let's say it's at 7:30 p.m. Maybe they got overtime. Maybe they can't drive, maybe they don't have the gas. Or maybe maybe that they just have some family events going on. And not everyone can make it. I think that's not the best way to bring the horse to the water. I think that because our branch officers have 1 day in the office per week, I think we should change the vice president's role as instead of having an office day, they should be having a day in the field. So I would like to go to the stations and talk to the stewards about that education. We can have a monthly meeting if they want, but I think we should bring the education to the stewards so they have no choice but to understand what we're trying to teach them. And and as for the carriers, we've had a circumstance recently that shows why we need carrier education. They came over to do a route inspection, and the branch responded in a typical fashion. What they did was they gave how to protect your route. They did a class or two prior to the inspection. The problem is all these things that carriers are doing that hurt their route value. It's stuff that's a bad habit that was built over time, and it's gonna take a lot of energy to break that bad habit. You can't break it overnight with the class. You gotta have this, a monthly training about how to protect your route values, and you gotta just, get people engaged. It can't be just an overnight project. So we lost 20 routes and in that station. It wasn't my station, but it can happen to any of us because a lot of us are uneducated and don't understand certain aspects of our route's value, and I think that needs to change.
Okay. I respect that. See, that was a straightforward answer. You didn't dance around it. God damn it. I'm gonna trip you up with the next one. I respect that. I respect that. You know why? Because you took away from the excuse. And once you show up and you're pushing it in somebody's face, they have no choice but to listen. I like that. Um, Unfortunately, that's not gonna happen everywhere in the country, but I like that. If you say, "Hey, look, man, I saw your grievances and this is how we should address it." Now your stewards have no excuse.
Yeah.
And if the steward has no excuse, now the carrier feels like their voice is being heard. I respect that. I like this so far. I like it so far. I don't know you, but we're gonna trip you up, brother. We're gonna trip you up. All right. So here's the next thing, right? Um, I know, everybody knows that a lot of contract violations have been ignored for years. I just spoke to Mr. Smith about this yesterday. It's all over the country, but you're not dealing with the country. You're dealing with your local. What do you plan to do differently if you get in there? Because you're battling against an incumbent. For those that
Yeah.
don't know what an incumbent is, that means it's somebody that's already been there. So it's kind of an uphill battle. But what do you plan to do different than the past leadership so that management can finally respect the contract? Because a contract just a damn piece of paper if they do not respect it.
Well, I think that we need to get serious about filing grievances, and that's something as the chief steward of Roseville, we got 5 installations, I'm only 1, and I'm at Roseville. As the chief steward of Roseville, my results have shown that I've escalated remedies. I've filed about 500 grievances a year. I've gotten
Damn.
people 50,000 bucks a year, and we only come from an installation of about 100 people. And I keep management on their toes, and I make sure that they follow the contract. And I think we just need to get serious about escalating remedies so that they stop doing it. And we got to get serious about filing grievances. A lot of times, the steward might think, "Hey, it's not important." We just got to share the relevance of these grievances, because every grievance is important because it's one step further to get management to stop violating. And I think we just need to take it a little bit more seriously.
So just to backtrack to your earlier comment, you stated that you're new to the NALC as a shop steward.
Well, I'm relatively new compared to others. I became a chief steward in 2023, and I got hired with the post office in 2022. Well, December of 21, so
Okay.
pretty much 22.
But you've been part of unions prior to this.
Yeah, I worked as a steward for about 10 years prior for UFCW.
Yes,
So
big.
I'm not new to the game. I was an
Okay.
organizer.
Okay. So you understand how to deal with contracts. Okay. So what made you step up? Why is it that you're not you know what? I hope you give me the right answer. What made you want to step up? And you're new to this. You came in 2022. It's 2025 within 3 years. What makes you think that you are ready to hold that VP position?
Well, a lot of people say, okay, well, the amount of years you do it equates to experience. But I think that experience can be given to any individual who dedicates more of their life to they can be just as experienced as other people. So for example, I come in 4 a.m. and I start researching grievances for 4 hours prior to starting my shift. I do this podcast.
Damn.
I spend every second of my life communicating with stewards across the country, through my podcast and through my other channels like my Facebook and social media. And I help people build templates and I help people change bylaws, and it's just something that I'm invested in. So obviously I think that I deserve to have the chance to give this experience to my branch because I'm already doing it with the rest of the country. I do a lot of grievance templates around the country, and it's just something I'm passionate about. So I think I should I think I can have a lot to input for the branch, and I think I can do a better job than what I've been seeing lately.
I respect that. You want to change the culture.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you change, so if everybody changes as well, because I got Roseville, we're at a high standard of contract compliance, but if everyone else changes as well, the floor raises and everybody moves up. It's something that we can do, and solidarity means a lot.
Mm, mm. All right, you knocking these out the park so far, so far. I'm gonna throw another one at you. I like the fact you want to change the culture. You answered that correctly. Like I said, I spoke to Smith yesterday. He's talking about people that need to step up. I've been telling people that for a while. I said, if you don't like what you what you're encountering, step up. If you got a lot of people don't want to be involved, a lot of people don't have that time. You said you coming out at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's dedication. I respect that. I respect that. I wake up very early in the morning. I go to sleep late. I respect dedication. But here's the thing. I don't know about your specific station. And understand, you're speaking to the country. You're not just speaking to your station or your area. Other shop stewards are in here from different crafts, just so you know that. Um, and if you're giving words that could be uplifting or sharing some knowledge, understand you passing it on to other people. They're going to dissect some of your words. It might help them. There are a lot of members that may feel afraid to file grievances. And again, I don't know really what the VP role is, but how does a VP protect those workers and show them that they will not be alone? I read comments yesterday for an hour and a half, and a lot of people saying, what happens when our people are not there? What happens when we don't have anybody to help us? Why are we still paying dues if I got to do this shit myself? So far, you haven't deflected. So I respect that. But how do you protect the people that show them that they won't be alone?
Well, I can tell you this. A vice president doesn't have any direct role personally. Any member of the union can show up to make sure that somebody is not alone. Now, a vice president or a member of the executive board may have a larger sway in terms of branch resources and things of that nature. Now, I think that it's important that, so I'm a man of action. I'll tell you that. That's what I have been most frustrated about my branch, because I'll say, hey, here's the perfect example. I'll say, hey, I'm at Roseville. They're not signing my information request, so I can't substantiate the fact that I've handed it to somebody. So I need on the form a place to write down who I handed it to, so I can have more of an account of what's going on. And they said, yes, that's a great idea. We need to make some new forms. We're doing it right now. And that was in 2023. I waited 6 months. They didn't make a form. I waited another 6 months. They still didn't make no form. So I said, look, I know you said it's a good idea. How about I just make my own until you get yours done? And by now they still don't have no form. So I
Wow.
just like to get things done. If I need to get something done, I get it done. So that's really what the difference should be when it comes to making sure no one's alone. Because a lot of people, they tune out at 8 hours. They get exhausted. We don't get exhausted. We get our members what they deserve. That's where we're supposed to be. So at all times of the day, I'll be available to help anyone with anything that they need, and especially in terms of contract enforcement, because I think that's where I'm supposed to be. I might not be able to help you out with moving into a neighbor's house as much as the next person might be able to. I don't got them muscles as much, but I do got the knowledge to enforce the contract, and I'll do the best I can in any way possible. Um, and I've been putting my phone number out there for a long time, so anytime anybody needs anything, they can just call me. That's I come in at 4 a.m. Well, sometimes I'm putting in the OWCP claims for my members, stuff like that, and
Damn.
processing grievances. But you know, it's just you got to put in that extra effort. If something needs to get done, you do it. It don't matter if you're getting paid or not. That's just what needs to happen. And at the end of the day, action's what we need. We don't need no excuses.
I love it. There's not a smear campaign either. You haven't said anything negative about your the incumbent. I respect that. I read a comment just now because I'm looking. Holy damn screens. I like this whole setup. Damn, did I lose it? The mailman said, "Brother Joshua Shrum is the grievance genius." Now, this individual must know you. Grievance genius. You just said that you put your phone number out there for people to reach out to you, making yourself available. I gotta respect that. And just so that anybody knows, he and I have had two conversations before this, maybe a total of 10 minutes. So none of this shit is planned. Just so y'all realize, this is just off the cuff. And like I said, I respect this. I said, "Hey, you want to talk about it?" He said, "No, just give me some questions." So here's the thing. You did mention this man saying you a grievance king. You mentioned to me that you wanted to do something about a grievance tracking accountability system or something. It sounds
Yep.
great, but if you get, we're going to talk about how you plan on getting in there. But what do you say to the leaders who claim they've gotten along fine without one? And
Well,
go ahead, I'm
well,
listening.
that's yeah, they're not right when they say that. But first of all, before I move on, I just want to make a point of information. Remember how you said that I put my number out there? Yeah, I said that. And you were talking about other unions listening. Well, they listen to my podcast too. I got some calls from APW members asking for, hey, is there a podcast like yours for APW? So I do get those calls from other unions as well.
Damn.
But I'll move on to the main point. So what you were asking about was so for the grievance tracking, it's not as fancy as it sounds. It's something simple that needs to happen, and a lot of branches have it, and a lot of branches don't. But my branch is one that doesn't, and basically, we need to learn what is affecting our stations on a regular basis. Right now, they don't know anything until the end of the year. They say, "Okay, give me all your grievance, Roseville." Okay, but they don't know as it goes on. tracking in real time what the issues are. So, like, let's say Article 8 overtime grievance is a problem at Roseville. Well, guess what? What if it's a problem throughout the district? This is an issue that maybe the president can handle beyond the grievance before many grievances need to happen. And we won't know that until he understands through the grievance tracking system that, that, well, man, there must be a lot of Article 8s. I see Roseville's got a lot. I see East Point's got a lot, all these other stations. Well, maybe this is a district issue and not a station issue. And it just helps you track things in real time, and it helps you understand what your issues are. And then it also makes your job more effective. Like, for example, if a manager comes in and says, hey, I don't, I, what did you settle that discipline for back in June? I can't remember. You don't have to dig through case files. You can pull it up in the grievance tracking system. Just refine it by like the grievance name, and then say, oh, looks like it was reduced to 6 months. Sorry, manager, it's gone now. There is no more discipline.
Mm.
So there's a lot of effectiveness. Like, that might have taken maybe 30 minutes to go digging around files to find which one was that grievance, but now you got an effective way to look things up. And like, it helps with contract compliance, especially because let's say you got an Article 8 coming up and you're like, man, I had so many Article 8s. I wonder how much I had. Maybe I can escalate this so that management stops. You can pull it up in the system, Article 8, and then there'd be like maybe 100 settlements to reference, and you can print them all out. Bam, put them right in your case file. Now you got proof that they've been egregious with this issue. And all it took is a couple clicks, and it's just it's a simple tool that most branches, even if it's not. So this is what the APW guy actually called me about too. He said, "Can I get a copy of that grievance tracking system?" Because he said he can use it. So it's not relevant only to the NALC. I think any any union should be tracking what's going on in a way that's effective. So it's simple common sense, if you ask me.
Love it. Love it. I just glimpsed over at the comments. You getting a lot of respect right
Oh,
now.
nice.
Yeah, a lot of people are respecting your words. You haven't dodged my questions. You came straightforward so far. So far. I gotta trip you up with something. And the most important question before we continue is it New York pizza or Detroit pizza?
I like my pizza as thick as possible. So isn't the New York one that thin one?
Watch your mouth. You know what? You know
I'm
what?
sorry,
Let's
man.
let's move on. Let's move on. All right. All right. Um grievance tracking system. I like that. Now, for the members that you say can't show up, how do you feel about Zoom?
Well, yeah, you know what? If I lose the election, which I plan on winning it, but any outcome can happen. And even if I win the election, well, one thing I'm going to focus on is bylaw changes. And one of those bylaw changes is that a lot of members are asking for, can I participate in union meetings without being physically there? Because a lot of places already offer that, and my
Mhm.
branch doesn't. So I think that that's an important bylaw that we really need to get passed. And I don't think it takes much effort. I think that all it will take is an agreement to the people who are currently at the meeting. But I'm going to propose a bylaw change for attending meetings in Zooms sometime in the beginning of the year, and I'm going to continue to introduce other bylaw changes that are relevant to what the members are asking for.
Okay, so for those that are watching now, on the record, if you have that in mind, right? That Zoom thing, and there are a lot of people that can't show up to meetings. Me personally, I'd say I don't know if this is reality, and you can correct me. This is why I don't know everything. Let's say, look, I'm the VP. Hey, look, um, I need at least, five of you guys to bring this to the floor at the next union meeting that you want Zoom here. That way they bring a motion, right? That's how it works. They bring a motion.
Yep.
And then after that, the next meeting, I need at least, more than, I don't, you said you have 100 there. I need you guys there for one night only for this vote. After that, once this vote is passed, we'll get you those Zooms. Is that how that goes?
Yeah, I mean, what happens is we have a branch of 1,000 members. My installation's 100, so that I'm the chief steward of 100 members. But then there's 1,000 of us. But branch bylaws can easily be proposed. I think it takes one or two signatures. I got to check the bylaws, but it's very few.
Mhm.
And we introduce it on one night, like you said.
Right.
Um, that introduction,
Get the ball rolling.
I probably wouldn't ask for anybody to need to be in attendance that day. But the next one, we vote on it. So in the next one, that's when I would organize all my guys to say, hey, you guys want this to happen? Well, then you got to show up, and we're going to have to make it happen. So that is how it works. We introduce it. It gets sent to the membership through our paper, and then the next meeting we all vote on it. So that's how
Okay,
you would do
good.
that.
So I hope that there are people watching. So I've brought up that whole thing about Zoom a while ago, and there are some places that, unfortunately, around this country, a lot of the halls don't really want. They claim they want the members involved, but they will not make it accessible for them. So, from my understanding, is basically they got to bring the motion to the floor. Next time, get everybody in there to vote on it. Then we got people that have no excuse as to why they cannot participate in a Zoom meeting on a selected day.
Yeah,
Correct?
correct. And we have a lot of people working overtime. We have a lot of people with families. And
Right.
I think it would give a very good avenue for people to see information in real time and possibly be able to participate. There's always the argument where if you're going to do it by Zoom, then maybe you can't vote or you can't do this or that because maybe you would need a digital sergeant of arms to keep record of what's going on in the Zoom
Mhm.
call. So,
Right.
regardless of the outcome in terms of participation, we want at least to be able to view the meeting and get the information that everyone else is getting, even though we're sitting on overtime or we're sitting with our family doing the things we need to do. I would prefer the participation, but it's going to be up to the membership at the end of the day whether or not they want to put another sergeant at arms.
Understood. Understood. I just want more people involved. Sam Moore says they want people's participation underneath their terms, and he got a great office. I've had him on before, Sam. Um, so he doesn't have a lot of problems at his office, but he knows how it goes. A lot of the halls, they like to keep the old guard. Um, and from our chat behind the scenes, we need to change that guard. We need to change that guard. Um, so your work ethic seems to be undeniable. But if the members want you in there and they elect you, um, what deadline you specifically, what deadline will you publicly commit to forgetting the tracking system, or at least an education program on how to, you know, look up their grievances? Because again, there's a lot of people that are in the comments and they're saying, "Hey, I don't even know where my grievances is at. I don't even know if it's sitting on
Yeah.
somebody's desk. I don't know if it's at step one, step two. I don't know if they wiped their ass with it and they fed it to the dog." There are a lot of people that have no information, and that's what they want. They want information, and unfortunately, and this is the part, I don't know what camera's on. Let me see what camera's on right now. I gotta look into the camera. Oh, it's there. All right, so a lot of people want shit spoon fed to them and don't want to do no work. It's unfortunate they want stuff spoon fed to them, but you have to at least make it accessible to them. So if it's
Absolutely.
accessible and they choose not to go seek it, then it's on them. People like, oh, he ain't come look for me. I don't know. I don't know. You supposed to send it to my text message to my email. Read it to me. No, no. This is unfortunately society. This it's all everything's at a click of a button, and that's what they'd like. They'd like it at a click of a button. But say, hey, look, the tracking system didn't work, but here's how you here we have a specific two forms you fill out. The moment you fill those two forms out, I'm just throwing this out there, you will have the information you need. um Back to the question, how do
Well,
you publicly commit to that, or
well,
can you?
I'll tell you the answer is going to be a couple different things. Right from the start, I've already been offering the branch to do this free, and they've told me, yeah, 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 good idea, but they've never allowed me to do it. So so as a member of the e-board, I'll have more of a say in terms of getting that done because now I'm an employee of the branch. So now they have a lot more of a better time allowing me to be at the hall to do the things I
Mhm.
need to do. And on top of that, what I would commit to is I'm starting right away. I already got it done in Roseville. I just gotta bring it to the rest of the branch. And when I'm starting right away, I'm starting it right away. Under the president's direction, the president's going to have to be the guy to authorize it. So if the president doesn't authorize it, well, then I'm going to bring it to the e-board meeting. And at the e-board meeting, I'm going to present my case. And if it's still not decided, if nobody's supporting it, well, then I'm going to bring it to the membership for a motion. And the membership will have to vote on whether or not they want to start this grievance tracking system. Because I think it's important that we do it, but I'm going to use the proper channels first. And if it comes down to it, unfortunately, I'll have to take a stance of defiance to the president to ask the membership, look, the president said no, or the e-board said no, and I'm asking, I'm going to present my case file. This is why we need it. This is what it could do for us. And I'm asking for the membership to approve this motion. And that will be how I get it done. And if it doesn't, the membership says no, well, then I guess we don't want it at this branch. But
I like that.
yeah, I'm going to commit to it right away.
Right away. I'm gonna reach out. I'm gonna reach out to be nosy. Your friend reached out to me, so I'm gonna reach out to her and say, is he doing what the hell he said he was gonna do? um so let me see if I could rattle you a little bit. You coming out with these good answers. See if I could make you uncomfortable. Leadership and the incumbent. What pushed you to step up now? What's the one main thing that the incumbent is not doing that this union, your union, desperately needs, that
Okay.
you think you can do better? Let's go.
So let me break down the definition of incumbent in this particular situation because I have spoken to you. I called it an incumbent,
Hmm.
and it's not an incumbent in a traditional sense. They did something a little bit funky on me. The current vice president, um, they decided to go for secretary, and the secretary decided to go for vice president. So technically, they are on the current board, but they're not currently serving as vice president. So they are technically an incumbent, but not the incumbent, if that makes sense. But either way, you know, my opinion is what sets us apart, because she's not a bad person. None of them are bad. None of them are that corrupt. They're not corrupt at all. They're not corrupt at all. Okay, but but I just think that there are things that I think they have different priorities, they have different understandings, and I think I can provide a lot more benefit to the membership. And for example, I think one of the things they do that I don't think we should have a tolerance for is a lot of times they will do things like be too quiet on important issues because they are worried about how their leadership above them thinks. And that's one of the things that sets me apart because, I'm not afraid to call, on my podcast, I called my national business agent out, uh, or his office out a couple times. And I'm sure they don't appreciate it, but at the same time, that those conversations that are difficult to have are important. Like when it comes time to tell the national president they're not doing good enough on the contract, we need people who are loud about it. We need people who are decisive. People who are making choices that reflect what the membership understands. So I think at a time like this, there's not enough reason to allow people who are too soft to our leadership or who don't represent the membership in a way that might hurt them. Might not hurt the membership, but hurt the person who's in the office from better opportunities to their bosses. We got to make sure we're not putting it ourselves first. We're putting the membership first, and I think that's what sets me apart.
So in other words, you a troublemaker.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's kind of what they think I am.
That's good though. That's good. Well, not that you're a troublemaker, but it's kind of the union's job to do one basic thing, which is enforce the contract that's already been set in place. And that's where a lot of the union members tend to get discouraged because they feel as if their stewards are not doing that. So again, I applaud you for that. And then when there's uncomfortable um, grievances or scenarios that are in or gray areas that are in the contract, there's too much of, oh, don't worry about it, or we'll let it slide, or don't, none of that is beneficial because
Yep.
I have a friend and she's new, and every Sunday they put her to, and this is nationwide. They do this nationwide. Do parcels, and she's like, I'm just doing it because I want the extra money. But I'm like, well, you're not supposed to be doing that because on the opposite, you're taking work away from a clerk. They could be filing a grievance. They're losing money that way at the end of the day.
Yep.
She's like, but yeah, I spoke to my shop steward, and my shop steward just told me just do what they say. What? Is at that point where
Yeah.
they're saying, "Well, what the hell am I paying you for? Just do what they say." She's not going to be combative about it. So we people want that pit bull. They want somebody that's going to be the troublemaker, the loudmouth. And it's not even that. It's just somebody that's going to reinforce what's already set forth in the contract. Your job as a carrier is to carry and deliver mail.
Well,
That's it.
it's it's funny you mentioned that parcel thrower because I just filed a 600-page grievance about staffing on the clerk side and how it's violating the NELC agreement on our side.
Mm,
Because our CCAs are on the clerk side, and what happened was our clerk side doesn't have an in-house steward, and not only that, but the clerks are worried about um, they don't care about tomorrow. They care about today. So they want their job done. They don't want to have to stay too long. So
right.
so I'm trying to fight for them for staffing because their union wasn't getting the correct information. And it's funny. I called the APWU and I gave them the copy of my case file. So I said, hey, everything you need to file the crossing crafts, I got in there. I got all the hours. And you know what's funny? They did it. So they're getting their staff now. They're getting they're hiring a couple more people. So I think you're right. I think there's a lot of stewards who just don't feel, well, man, that's staffing. That's a clerk side. That's not an NALC side. I'm not going to file that. Well, just file it. Just file it because you could win cases you think you're going to lose, and you could lose cases you think you're going to win. So there's nothing holding you back from trying to represent your membership. And at the end of the day, I put that ball in the members' court because if a member says, "Hey, I think I've been wronged. I
Hmm.
think this is against the contract," I'm gonna sit there and say, "Look, the contract says this. Uh, I might not win this case. This is all my contentions. I don't know if this is not black and white. Do you want me to still file this?" And they say yes. So then I'll file it and I'll go ahead and let myself lose because I know I'm going to lose that one. But it's up to the membership. That's what they're paying their dues for, and maybe they'll win, and maybe we'll get some new precedent that's important to them. So I think that should never happen. Those people who are saying they don't want to file a grievance because they think they're going to lose. What do you got to lose? You're going to be put back in the same place you were. So
Mm,
it's not like you're losing something.
right.
So that's just a lazy talk. You got that. I'm a man of action. You got to get stuff done.
I like. Um, so for the members that are watching, um, for the other people in the future that may want to run for an office, uh, that are tired and frustrated and discouraged, why should they believe that you would be the one that would fight for them? Or what words of inspiration, what words are going to resonate? And not just words, because obviously you have good action. There's clearly people that are vouching for you, but what is it that sets you apart?
Well, I mean, uh, so I can't tell you something that I'm going to do because you don't know me. A lot of people they don't know me.
Mhm.
I can't tell the future, but I can tell you this: I'm going to stand by our side no matter what happens. I'll give you an example. When I was a new steward and they changed our start time, I had came to my union counterparts and I said, look, the district manager told my postmaster the reason why they changed the start time because they changed us all at the same time. The reason why they did it is because they think we're sitting around, we're doing nothing, and if they change the start time, we'll want to go home on time. So we're going to go faster. So I said we should all file this together and show that it's arbitrary and capricious. And they actually discouraged me. They said no, no, don't file that. We're not. None of them filed it. And they told me you should be filing it either because what you're doing is going to teach them how to do it right, and then they'll just turn around and then change the time again. And I said, well, that isn't that the point of a grievance? You gotta they're supposed to be doing the right things. They're supposed to file the contract. So I filed the grievance against everybody's understanding that it would win or they didn't care. And I won. We're the only ones, we're the earliest start time now out of the branch because everyone else had the same opportunity I did. They just didn't do it. And I could tell you that I'm gonna do everything it takes, and I could tell you it till I'm blue, but you're just gonna have to wait till I can show you it, because I've shown Roseville plenty of times, but I don't have the opportunity to show you till I'm vice president. So
I'm You're not covering my branch. I'm not in the branch. But what you said just now, that's deep because I hear it all over the country. I have a little chat group with a bunch of carriers and they talking about people changing their times. And you're telling me that you won, which is something that a lot of people will not even challenge. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, they have it in their power to move you 2 hours either way. I know that's the story that they always come up with. And you're saying that you won. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that are gonna want to reach out to you to figure out how the hell you pull that shit off. Um, Very
yeah.
admirable. Very, very, very admirable. Um, I unfortunately I can't trip you up the way I wanted to, which is good, which is good. Um, you know, I don't know. Man, you talk to him, man. I don't have any
Hey,
more questions. I'm
you ready
looking
to
in the
wrap it up? You ready to
I'm
wrap it
looking in
up?
the I'm looking in the comments and I don't see too many oh, you know what? How about it? What you think about that 1.3%?
Oh, it was a slap in the face. So at the end of the day, a lot of people say 1.3, that's what we always get. That's fine. That's good enough for me. And I think that for at least a decade, maybe more, it hasn't been sufficient. 1.3% in 1980 it doesn't mean the same amount as 1.3% today because the cost of our inflation and the value of our dollar, this used to be a job where we could have a decent living, and now it's not. So 1.3% is a slap in the face because it's just a continuation of the decay of the value of our career. And at the end of the day, that hurts unions because once people are starting to have a hard time paying bills, they're not going to be participatory in additional things. A lot of times they shut down. They go work their second job. They worry about how they're going to pay their bills, and they're not interested in, oh, okay, let's go to a union meeting and educate ourselves because they're more interested in like what's going to get me some money to pay my
Mm.
bills. So our wages are directly related to our participation. Back in the day, these guys at my station, they used to even spend time with each other. But at today's day and age, with the fact that we're not comfortable anymore, that type of stuff, the solidarity has degraded a little bit, and it's
Solidarity.
unfortunate.
And I don't know how much of what you watched with Mr. Smith yesterday, but he said similar. There's a lack of solidarity amongst your own craft. Like I said, I have a little chat group with carriers, and I was telling them either today or yesterday. I said, "Hey, carriers are fickle. Y'all have a lot of infighting amongst yourselves. It's
Yeah,
interesting. You have, CCAs, you got PTFs, and you got, career carriers, right? And even the
yeah,
new career carriers that are not, the ones that are hired after 2011 are different than the career carriers before 2011. So there's a lot of infighting amongst each other. Um, and there's a lot of point and blame at each other and all kind of stuff. Like I again, there's so many people that reach out to me behind the scenes. This lady was like, "Hey, they want me to go out on a route, uh, but the carriers are taking keys home to the vehicle, so we can't use the Metro, so we can't use the ProMaster." And this was a few weeks ago, and I was like, "Oh, you know what? They used to do that shit with the trucks." And then today, somebody mentioned it about somebody taking the keys home so that other people can't use Pro Masters or whatever it is. I gotta let anybody know, even my own postal people here, don't take the fucking keys home. The vehicles belong to the United States Postal Service. You know, oh, they don't fill the truck up on Sundays when they have Amazon Sunday and they leave us a truck that's empty. Well, look at what the CCA carriers have to do. They're pushed to rush, rush, rush out and rush, rush, rush back. And if you got to put gas in your own vehicle on Monday, you're getting paid to do it. You don't take the damn. I told him, I said, shit, if and you take the key home and I know that it was a truck that I use, I'm calling postal police on you. Ain't your damn that's me. I'm that guy. The hell you taking the damn keys home
well,
for? Or
I
hiding
can
the
speak.
keys.
I can speak to the fact that it's not policy to do that. That's not technically it's not appropriate. But it's one of those things where you can blame it on a mistake. If you did that, you did take it home. Um, we make mistakes all the time, so it's one of those things they probably can't get a carrier in trouble for most of the time because you have to prove intent. But if that is their intent, I would say that's not very respectful for sure.
It might not happen at your station, but
Yeah.
it happens nationwide. They take that shit home all the time. I know we have truck drivers do that because they don't want nobody in their truck. You know, oh well, I know that the guy that rides the truck, we have slip seats. So you get one truck guy gets out, and another one jumps in, and they're like, oh well, on his day off, I'm taking the key home because I don't want nobody else in the truck because they leave it nasty. The vehicles don't belong to nobody. They belong to the postal service. Leave the damn
Yep.
keys there. They'll hide them and everything. Um, Nonetheless, take it home, man. Tell us some good, bad, and ugly. I mean, I
Well, you
you
want me to
got me
wrap it up?
stumped. Hey, man, no, speak your piece. This is your world. I don't really have many
Okay.
more questions. I tried to throw some stuff at you. But I have a question for you though. I do have a question. Um, I do have a few people that are stewards that are in the carrier craft. Um, would it be okay if I connect you
Yeah.
with a couple of them just in case
Well, well,
information?
it's 586-209-1902 for anybody who wants to call me or
Ooh.
text me. You know, it's I'm
Well,
basically up all the time, so you can message me anytime you want. Also, the Roseville Wrecking Ball at yahoo.com is the email. You can reach out to me if you prefer email. But I'm just gonna tell you right now, I'm bad at texting. You know, I like to call. So like I prefer voice. You know, even though I'm young, I was manufactured in 91. You know, I'm not like my fellow millennials. You know, I kind of I'm a little bit old as school when it came to texting. You know, I hate texting because
you
I'm
were
always.
born in 91?
Yep, that's me. Yep.
Shit, my son was born in 90. You know what? I'm gonna shut up. Yeah, my son was born in 93.
I know I don't look like it. I look kind of old, but
Woo! I am oh man, you just made me feel old. All right.
yeah, you look
Now,
like you're the guy from 91 compared to me, man. You're looking young today.
shit. I'm the 70s, brother. Um, you just put your phone number out there. That I don't know what screen I got going on here, but I gotta look at the damn screen because that's some real shit. That is real shit. That is somebody that is not hiding. That is somebody willing to help.
Oh
I
yeah.
usually leave my I usually leave my email. And I stopped that. It got overwhelming. But that's admirable. I wouldn't do that again. But just remind people if anybody wanted to reach out to you. But you do say you have an email. What is your email?
Yeah, but it's Roseville Wrecking Ball at yahoo.com. It's ROSEVILLE WRECKINGBALL at yahoo.com.
Roseville Wrecking Ball at yahoo.com. Okay, I respect that. Um, damn, damn.
I
You
got something too. If anyone's listening from branch 4374, you know, you got to really get your ballots in by November 4th. You know, the election's almost over, so we gotta make sure your ballots are in by November 4th. If you don't have if you don't have your ballot somehow, make sure you contact the election chairperson. So you can contact me and I'll give you their number. Yeah, I gave my number out, so
I got somebody that just put your email in the comment section. Hold on, let me pin this. Boom. Your email is now pinned. That's that's
nice.
amazing. Jay's shirt was purchased in Nam. Ha ha. No, in the Philippines. Oh my goodness, that is amazing. Um, somebody said, glad you file and stand on your business. You're I'm not gonna influence anybody's vote, but in my personal opinion, you have what a lot of stewards need to have, um, which is admirable. You have it. There's no way to build it. You just have to have it. Um, and it for me is really that don't back down, kind of push the envelope mentality. And I respect that, man. I appreciate you coming on. Um, you got 5 minutes, man. Close it up. Speak to your people. Speak to everybody, really.
Okay.
Just in general. This is
Well,
your world.
yeah, I think that it's important that each and every one of us, regardless of our craft, we focus on contract enforcement. The Postal Service will oftentimes refer to us as the reason why they're not financially sound. And sometimes our leadership buys into that, you know, and they play this game where the postal service says, "Oh, boo-hoo, you know, you guys are taking all our money and we're failing." And our leadership, unfortunately, buys into that notion, and I think it's important that we don't do that. That because that's building management's case file for them in terms of changing the way we operate. In all reality, we're we're not any part of the problem because they don't have to pay a single penny if they don't violate the contract. And at the end of the day, they're very irresponsible with their spending. That's where they should really be looking. Like, for example, right now, the POOM has to tell the postmasters what to do. They can't even call somebody in without getting an approval from the POOM on a regular basis, on a same day basis in the morning. And so, if that's the case, why even have postmasters? Why are you paying all these people salary when they're not making choices themselves? That at the end of the day, those are the financial choices that really are detrimental to the postal service. So never be afraid to file them grievances. Never be afraid to stand up for what's right, and don't be negative about the situation either. Don't buy into the postal service's idea that we gotta beg them for scraps just because they're doing bad. They're not doing bad. They're making bad choices. And that's on them to learn that lesson. They got to stop making them bad choices. So you need to file them grievances. You need to make sure you get your act together. If something needs to get done, you do it. And if you got somebody in office who wants to clock out in 8 hours, that's fine and dandy. If you're from an office that's the only choice you got. And, you're going to take what you can get. But if you have somebody in that office who will get stuff done regardless of pay status, regardless of what they got in the game for in return, then you better move out of the way for that person, because that's what needs to be in office. We need to develop people who have that drive, who have that enthusiasm, who have that will to get things done, and you need to use them to the best of your ability. If you're a branch officer, use those people for what they are good at. Utilize everybody for their unique talents and abilities. But at the end of the day, it's up to the membership to make all the decisions that needs to be made. So if your branch needs to change, us as members need to make that change happen. And that's all I really got to say, other than, hey, don't forget to check out my podcast if you want to learn about the contract. Even non-NALC people have checked out my podcast, so it could be useful to them too. It's Parcels of Knowledge. Parcels of Knowledge. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, any other thing. There's a bunch of stuff. I got it on YouTube, but nobody listens to that, because I don't got videos like you. But other than that, that's all I got to say.
Parcels of knowledge. Love it. I love it. All right. I'm gonna go to my comments and see how many people cursed you out. All right. Uh let's see. Nope. Nobody cursed you out. No, 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 no. Yeah, no, no, yeah, no. You didn't get any negative comments so far. Hmm. I I'm
Man.
There's very few come on here. Y'all carriers are ruthless. They give the business. They give me the business. Ain't nobody give you the business. I respect that, man. Um, I appreciate you being on here this evening and taking every question head on. I thought I was going to trip you up. I swore I was. The members deserve leadership that shows up. You show up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I respect that. You standing firm. I respect that. And clearly, if you were able to pull that shit off where you got the time changed, you are delivering, which means you're not just talk. Um, I appreciate you, even though you're not my union. I respect that. And other people should respect that as well. And they need more people like you. You're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. And all we can do in life is aim for perfection. We're always going to fall short. Um, Again, you want to say your name in full so people remember it before when they go to vote for you.
Yeah, my name's Joshua Shrum, and I'd love your vote, but even if I don't win, I'll still be here and I'll be around, and we're gonna get stuff changed. And there's always the next time, but I do anticipate doing a good job with this election. So we'll see how it goes, and yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Now I got a question. If and when you win, will you come back on here?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Anytime you want me on, If I'm not busy, I'll come on. Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
When you win, you need to order pizza from New York and eat it on screen.
All right, that sounds
Okay.
good.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, as long as you agree to
Maybe
that,
I'll
we
come
good.
over there to New York because I got some carriers in New York I always wanted to hang out with. I always talk to them about grievances, so maybe I'll come
Cool.
over there sometime.
All right. Cool. 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 Well, I'm not in New York. I'm somewhere USA.
Oh,
So
okay.
we'll leave it like that. But I'm from New York, and I'm gonna stand on my New York pizza. And there's a lot of people over there talking about Chicago pizza. You don't eat Chicago pizza, right?
That I love Chicago pizza.
Oh my God. You're no longer welcome on this show, brother.
Man, does it look like I eat thin pizza? Look at me. I'm a little bit big over here.
Oh
So,
my God. You're gonna have these guys get on my ass now. That's
yeah,
all
the
I see
thicker
in
the
the
better.
comments is Chicago pizza. Oh my God. Here we go. Anyway, um, I gotta get to bed. I got my little man sleep. I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I gotta cook breakfast, all that other good stuff. Josh, I appreciate you. Um, Tomorrow this thing should be fully uploaded, and you'll be able to read the comments over. That's kind of how this works. Even once you shut it off, it takes like a whole day for this thing to upload. Um, and let
Okay.
me let me tell my people, have a good evening, Jasmine. De vous, I'm assuming de vous. If I said it wrong, I apologize. Sam Moore. That's my dogs, Johnny. Yes, shy till he die. Screw you in that Chicago cardboard. Eating Chicago pizza is like licking a train, the inside of a door of a train. It's horrible. It's horrible. The mailman, I appreciate you. Um, it says if you are a new steward, check out episode 27 on parcels of knowledge. All right, so you got the mailman plugging you. Beautiful. Maurice, have a good evening. Uh, and that's all I gotta say about that. Chooch. Y'all have a good evening. Thank you, sir. And y'all
Thank
have a
you.
good night.